Accessibility ain't just for those with disabilities. Makes the world better for everyone, online as well as in person. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the blind blogger Maxwell Ivy, and this is the Accessibility Advantage, where I will be advocating for more inclusion of and accessibility for people with disabilities through emphasizing the many positive benefits. And you can find me at theaccessibilityadvantage.com or on LinkedIn at Maxwell Ivy. Ivy is Ivey. Do hope you will check out our sponsor, the hosting provider at Blueberry, which is blueberry without the e's.com. And I am available to help you improve the accessibility of your products or services so you can reach and leverage the power of the disability community while avoiding any potential regulatory penalties for not being accessible. So I do hope you'll reach out, use the contact link, or schedule a short chat. So today, I'm having a conversation. I'm really kind of just seeing where this is going to go. I know that there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence lately and what it can do or not do for accessibility or for the visually impaired and disability communities in general. But I'm dipping my toe in and trying to appreciate it in small doses. So today's guest is actually a really good start for me. His name is Martijn Van Der Spek, and he is the founder of Sparkling App, a company that he is using to develop digital products to help people with disabilities, mainly people with vision loss. And he is the creator of a product called Piccybot, or for those of us using VoiceOver as our screen readers, Piccybot. You can find it at PICCYBOT.com. Piccybot is also available in the App Store and in Android, and it just became available in a desktop version for some Mac users. So I do hope you'll check out the website. Martijn he spent a lot of time traveling the world in Asia and Africa, and I feel like that travel probably informed his view about people of all abilities. An entrepreneur and inventor, and I love what his tagline about his business says about how they want to make the visual world available to everyone, regardless of sight ability. So, thank you, Martijn. I really appreciate you coming on the Accessibility Advantage, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about you, Piccybot, and the future of AI for the visually impaired.
Thank you, Maxwell. It's great to be here. It's really a pleasure. And yeah, well, yeah, you basically summarized it already. But yeah, after growing up in the Netherlands and studying there, I've basically been working around the globe as a software engineer and yeah, in all kind of different circumstances. It is so yeah, people having access to certain abilities, yes or no. It is and that yeah, and now in the end, I ended up in India, and where I am founded Sparkling Apps, and we basically worked on recognition software, recognition in all kind of different ways of whether it was voice or video or or text, and in that way it was a kind of a logical step for me to develop an app called Talking Goggles. That was 13, 14 years ago, and I thought, it's nice to have an app that speaks out what is in the image or what is on what is the photo that you are taking, and gives a description. And that was actually one of the first apps that did that in any way, but I never realized how the impact it had on the blind on low vision community at that time, because everybody came back to me like, now suddenly I can yeah, I can see what is in my fridge. I can see what I can operate my washing machine. Your app is great, and that has really inspired me. It is unfortunately the app. It was a free app, and it was really difficult for me because Google changed their conditions, and I was using a Google Vision API at that time, and more or less let it slip, and other things came in the way. But yeah, then later on, with the AI revolution, so to say, over the last 2-3 years, the options became suddenly far wider, and then I decided to launch Piccybot, which is based on a multitude of AI engines and does more than just image recognition. It also does videos. And you can share from any social media to it. It's really a very it's more or less a Swiss Army knife type of tool that the visually impaired can use to have something described. That is really, and roughly where I am at the moment. And there are more, developments in the pipeline. But the focus is mainly on Piccybot still.
Right. So I'm curious because I find that most people that are invested in accessibility or helping people with disabilities, that most of those people have been exposed to someone with a disability. Did you have somebody in your family? Did you work with somebody during the course of your professional career? Did you study with somebody at university, or was it just general people that you saw throughout the course of your day? I'm just curious.
It was more the general people I saw, and it started, as I said, with an idea that I had for this talking goggles. Then I came in contact with with the visually impaired community, so to say. It is so it's a bit of a different path for me. It is, that inspired me to because it's work that is so rewarding for me. It is otherwise I would make apps and there would be only complaints and issues and how to fix, and it's fine, but it's very much appreciated when you are producing something that is actually making a difference and actually helping out people that are
right. Well, you just said something there that's very important that most people don't understand, is that the visually impaired community, people with disabilities, people living with the challenges of disability, whether they consider themselves disabled or not, as a group, we appreciate effort. We don't expect perfection, but because you were willing to make the effort, you saw much more positive responses to your work than you would with an app that would be developed for the entire general population. So that's an important thing I think people need to focus on. The other thing I think is interesting is you developed this app, it sounds like, just to see if you could do it, and then discovered it had applications for the visually impaired.
Right. That's And it was some time ago, but it was a really a surprise or eye opener for me for that it was so impactful. It was, so that's how I kept on developing in that direction, and really now focusing on the visually impaired community entirely. It is I'm working on different apps, but they all have an element to help the visually impaired. Whether also at some point we made software for scanners that were installed in libraries, and that would speak out the books that visually impaired would lay on them, and things like that. We also implemented. This is another project, but for the it's all about recognition and about working and enabling.
All right. Now, right now, one thing I know I noticed about your app is that it allows you to bring in images or videos from your social media feeds and have it give you the description. But what I am wondering is does is there a way that people who are sighted, who aren't disabled, who are just trying to create the alternative text so they can meet the WCAG, which is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines standards, is it possible that people who aren't visually impaired can be using your app to create the alt text to save themselves the time and the stress of, am I creating a good alt description or not? And then copy and paste that into the photos they are sharing on social media or on their websites?
Well, with Piccybot, if you save or you share an image or video to your library, it automatically will include the description as a meta tag to the image. So that is more or less integrated. It may not be a description that is as short or to the point as you may want it to have, but you do get the basic, well, actually the full description of the image in the attached to it. So that is also, it's also useful for later on if you want to search through your photo library or your video library, because then it all has the meta tags in it.
Right. Because one thing that webmasters and social media managers they often ask me about is, what would you tell me about how to create the alt text for images and videos that I'm including on my website? Since there isn't currently a way to automate an alt text or a video like there is with automated closed captions. Yes, I know automated closed captions often still have to be edited because there are errors and there are problems with tense and problems with knowing who's speaking in those closed captions or transcriptions. But I get a lot of questions about what is best practices for creating alt text, and it sounds to me like this could be something that would make their lives easier, especially if it stays in the metadata. That means that, at least it sounds to my uneducated experience, that description it's created may travel with the image or the video.
Right. That's correct. And actually, there was one, in the AppleVis forum, there was a lot of mention about, well, can't we make an app called Piccybot that goes through your whole entire library and then processes it all, and it is all very, it's nice to do, but it's at least at the moment it will be a very expensive affair actually, because you have to process them all with the different engines online. Unless you do that locally, which is also possible, but then it will take a long time. But that will be a separate product altogether, and it's actually interesting to make as well.
Right. Well, I am hopeful, like I say, that your app, or we can eventually get to something that will help the webmasters, because I feel one of the reasons that keeps a lot of people from creating the alt text is they're just worried they're going to do it wrong. That plus having to create it over and over again, because as I'm sure you're aware, if you have multiple social media accounts, then each time you share an image or a video, you have to add those descriptions to each image on each account. So I feel like if there's a way people can export these descriptions and then use them in their other online work, or if there's a way they can travel with the images or the videos, that would be a great help to accessibility in general, because it would cut down the amount of thought, effort, and worry people would be putting into it.
Right. Well, the thing is, the saving of the metadata is actually a feature that that I put in there really in the beginning of the app, and it has not been used as much as it should be, maybe because also I never really, I almost forget about it myself. It is, but it,
Okay, so all right, so here's the deal. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, if y'all are listening, Y'all need to reach out to Martijn and see if we can't make this deal where the metadata that's already there can be used to create the alt text when I share my stuff on social media. Okay, y'all get a hold of Martijn. Let's make this work. Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Yes,
I'm,
sir.
I'm a little more than half serious about that because it does seem to me, like I say, I'm just thinking about this out loud on the in the moment. It does seem to me that if once the description is created, it resides in the metadata of that image or video, then there should be a way for it to travel to the social media accounts, and we should be able to short circuit this process to where people have to spend a lot less effort on it, and then maybe we get more. Because one thing I run into a lot on e-commerce sites in particular is they will have, say like a car dealership, they may have 100 different vehicles, and they may only put a description for the very first image of the vehicle, but not the others because it takes so much time and effort to do that. But if they had a way to automate creating the alt text as they're doing each image, so they didn't have to think about it so much, and then it lived in the metadata, which it sounds like that's where it lives. It seems to me it's just a matter of an API change to make that happen. So, like I said, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, any of y'all out there, because if we could stop talking about alt text, then we could start talking about things like color names and emoticons, stickers and GIFs, and some of the other issues out there around images and videos. And so you did mention that people have asked for batch processing, and I understand that that's kind of difficult because of the amount of data it would take, the time, and somebody has to pay for that processing time, even with the large learning models that we have now. So, well, and one thing I noticed about your product, which I think probably makes it even less, it makes it more of a problem for this app is, and I think this was actually a good move. I think your choice to use WhatsApp to communicate the data back and forth is probably a good way to avoid some of the bottlenecks of the data processing. It's probably more secure using WhatsApp than having it go through my standard browser. But using WhatsApp probably also limits the amount of photos or videos somebody can process at a time or in a session.
Yeah, actually, the WhatsApp version of Piccybot came as a result of me really wanting to make something for these meta classes. Because I've been working with different smart glasses, and the meta glasses are really I think the first ones that are really lightweight and look good, and they are useful. I think that is but the problem is, of course, that you only have the Meta AI in those glasses. So when you want something described, you get a not perfect description. So I thought, okay, well, let's have Piccybot describe these things and in the Meta glasses and include video as well. And for that, it was impossible at that time. Again, Meta has opened it up now, or is going to open it up, but that's not there yet. But the only way to do this was actually to use WhatsApp as an in-between, so that you could send your images or videos from your Meta glasses to WhatsApp, and WhatsApp came back and give a description. So that's the only way I could manage to have a hands-free way of having images or videos described with your while walking around.
Right, and that also allows the user to be able to have those images described without having access to any type of a mobile network, or at least not to a Wi-Fi network. I mean, because most people with technology with vision loss or most of us are going to be traveling around with some sort of a device that has either Wi-Fi or cellular service or both. So, using WhatsApp allowed you to go off of it, say a phone's the phone side of it, using the cellular side of it, as opposed to having, well, what having it maybe not be available whenever somebody didn't have access to a dedicated network.
Yeah, well, I think the main advantage has been that it adds one more layer of flexibility. So if you also, because initially it came with the glasses. I mean that was the reason for developing it, but then it was like, people who were just getting their WhatsApp messages, and they could just forward it to the Piccybot contacts, and then get the description. They find it very practical. It is well, the reason for development and the actual implementation, or the actual use of it, came out to be a bit different. But really within, after launching the WhatsApp service, really there were thousands and thousands of users that really loved to do this. Also, surprisingly a bit more worldwide. I mean, while Piccybot is mainly popular in Europe, actually, or at least most of the pro users of Piccybot are in Europe. In the WhatsApp version is very popular in Brazil and in the rest of South America, and you get a lot of that type of feedback of users there.
Right. And one thing people should pay attention to here is that you had a goal of being able to have these images or videos described while somebody was wearing their meta glasses and while they were traveling away from their home, which has a lot of value, being able to get a description of an image while you're on the bus, the train, and in an unusual location. And you looked at the roadblocks and you thought, this is a way I could do this for now. And if in the future Google makes things easier for me, then this app will get even better. But this is a way I can do it right now. And I'm a big believer that there are always solutions around us. It's just a lot of people don't really want to use the solutions that are available because the solutions are not enjoyable or not ideal. So I appreciate how you adopted a solution that wasn't ideal. Probably took you a little more effort to create that workaround, but it got your app out there. And now Meta is changing, and if Meta is changing, Apple's going to be changing right behind them. So we'll see if maybe in the near future the Piccybot is also available to people with the Apple glasses. I don't have a dog in that fight because I don't have either kind of the glasses. I'm open to a sponsorship or a donation, but I don't have a pair. But I do hear that either of them are very good. Although I have heard from some of my friends that they enjoy the Meta better than the Apple, which is unusual because most of us visually impaired are Apple users. So, but hey, y'all, I'm talking with Martijn Van Der Spek. He is the founder of Sparkling App. He's the creator of Piccybot, or if you're a voiceover user, Piccybot. You can find it at PICCYBOT.com. It's also available in the Android Play Store and on Apple. And it's now will be available anytime now, like maybe today or tomorrow, for Apple desktop users. And really impressed with what y'all doing. So I got a couple of questions about the first. You mentioned that there is a pro level of the service. So is this free? Does it cost money? And like how much of it can you use before you have to make a serious investment?
Piccybot, one thing is the free version is you have unlimited access. You can process as many images or videos as you want. And you do the sharing from and to social media. That is all unlimited. I do need to. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I need to earn some money, and therefore we have a pro version, which is offering a lot more, because the main thing is that there are the main version of Piccybot uses only one AI model for both the video and the images, while the Pro version you have the access to even we have 19 models actually you can choose from. Plus you have more voices, you can set the length of the duration of your description, you can do the speed, all kind of, and you can also merge, let's say if you have the audio of a video, you can export the audio only, or the video only, or the description only, or you can merge the whole thing so that you have an audio overlay of your video, and then you can set the audio levels of both the original sound of the video and as well as the descriptive sound. So all these type of extra features are in the Pro version, and that's it's available as either a $3 a month subscription, or you pay once $25 and then you have it available for life. Like I said, it's a bit more, the Pro users are a bit sponsoring the free users, but it works for both. And even the free version is very useful in my opinion.
Right. Well, it does sound like the Pro version does offer some very valuable additional features. As far as having access to multiple learning models to describe the image. I don't have this experience anymore from photos, but I do have it from videos where I will listen to a movie or a TV show that has been audio described. And what that is, for those of y'all who don't know, audio description is where a script has been created of the descriptions of the action that's taking place on screen. And whenever actors aren't speaking dialogue, they will have a voice over actor read those scripts and describe what's going on. And what I've found over the years is that if I listen to the UK description and the US description of the same show, I will find bits and pieces in each of those that doesn't appear in the other. So by combining those two descriptions in my brain, I end up with a fuller understanding of what happened in that movie or television show. And it sounds like that's kind of what happens when you use the multiple models on images. Would that be correct?
Well, the multiple models, there's one thing that is a problem usually with image descriptions. It is that, you have the models hallucinating. Sometimes it will come up with, okay, there's a cat leaving the scene, but it is in fact a dog, or it's a bird or whatever, and it is just wrong. If you have the Pro version of Piccybot, you have you have some models which are combining different models. So the Piccybot mix model, for instance, takes the elements of 3 different models, and then basically gets the description of all 3 of them, and then only describes the elements that they all agree on. So then you really have a correct description, because if both Meta and Google and OpenAI and Anthropic, if they all agree on this, okay, there is a cat and there is a cat. So it's more for that purpose that there is. It's good to have multiple models, because they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Some models are better in describing emotion. Some models are better in describing people in general and features, and some models are faster. Some models are very technical. So it's good to have choice.
Right. Okay. So you're the first person I've actually heard that works in the field of AI who's willing to say that there is such a thing as AI hallucinations. I've read about it, but I haven't seen anybody that I know personally or that I trust enough to think, well, they're saying it is or it ain't, and believe them. So I always find it encouraging when a business owner will admit something that, is not necessarily perfect representing their business, but doing it because they feel like they need to be upfront about it. So I appreciate that. And it does sound like the pro version, where you have multiple models checking each other and only sharing the descriptions they agree on, does sound like a great way, especially since a lot of people using the app are going to be blind and they won't know what the original photo was to begin with. So that's a good situation to have, to make sure that we're not sending out descriptions that don't match up with the original image. Like I said, it's a valuable thing for the pro version. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about today is, the progression from your first app 14 years ago to Piccybot. But, now you're working on an even more advanced project, which I think you're saying is like an audio pilot or something along those lines. Did I get that correct?
No. What I'm working on at the moment is more like a voice assistant. That it's a bit like like Siri, but then in a very advanced Siri that basically can take over control of your PC. It is, I'm developing it both for PC and as for Macs, and it will control your mouse, and it will say, okay, go to that website and look, or anything actually, or anything on your PC, and it will control that and say, okay, I'm now going to go there, and I'm going to click there, and is it okay? It is, and it will describe what is on your screen and what changes on your screen and things like that. It is, so that is, I think, a very new way of controlling your machine, and I guess, it's again using AI to a very high degree, and it is interesting to see how certain things, when it will, for instance, it will click on a progress on a description bar, and it will make a mistake because there is already some text, and then the AI realizes that there is a mistake, and then it will do Control A, select everything, delete, and it will then correct it. It is, I mean, it's amazing to see, even if, as a sighted person, that it is doing that. But for I think for blind users, it will be very, very useful to have this type of tool. It is, that it will actually, I hope, will change the way you can use your machine, and maybe even in a way, because that's another thing. The real challenge is to make something that is both useful, maybe even for sighted users, that they say, well, I can just speak to my machine and it will get a description. I can't look at it, but I can do that remotely or something. It is then that will also be useful. So.
All right, so I have a couple more questions and a comment, but I have to stop right there because you just did something that I'm always trying to get people to do, and you did it without me pushing you to do it. You said that the project that you're working on not only could help visually impaired people, but it could make the lives of sighted people more make their lives easier as a result of this thing that you're at least initially developing for people who are visually impaired. So,
right. Yeah, because it is. Look, we have to face it. It's a challenge. It is. I mean, on the one hand, you know that there are so many visually impaired, but on the other hand, the actual community of people who are using their tools to really to the best of their abilities, it is a far smaller group than you would expect almost. It is so it is well, it's a challenge to build for a small community. It is that is so if it is possible to have something that works for everyone, but is in particularly useful for the blind or visually impaired, that's perfect. I mean, I see the same thing a bit happening with the meta glasses. they were never meant for for the visually impaired, but they were really embraced because they're very useful, and at the same time you have a big company like Meta behind it who will churn them out, and Ray-Ban, and they are really off the shelf products that therefore are far more economical to produce, and it benefits everybody. That is.
All right. So when it comes to AI, one thing I have to ask you, I said I had two more questions. One is, what steps have you taken to protect the data and the privacy of the people using the app?
Well, that's always the difficult question, because it depends really for every model that is being used. It is they have different rules they play with. It is the one thing though, which is automatically a thing for if you use Piccybot. I mean, Piccybot doesn't store any data or share any data, but it will send the requests to OpenAI or Google or Meta, and they can store it. But in this case, since you are using Piccybot, it will go from the Piccybot server to a Meta or Google server, and so Google knows that it will come from Piccybot, but it will not be able to link this to the individual who is using the app. So in that sense, it's safer to use that than to use, let's say, go to your browser and go to ChatGPT and enter something there, because that's then immediately, it will store all this data. In this case, it won't.
Right. So what you're saying is that the Piccybot server is at least somewhat of a barrier between my information and the AI models that I wouldn't have if I just entered an image into ChatGPT or one of those directly and asked it for an image description.
Right.
Okay.
In a way, it's like a bit like a firewall. In a way,
I was thinking VPN as you were. I was thinking VPN as you were talking.
You're right.
Actually,
you're right. VPN is actually a good, similar thing.
Yeah. All right. So last thing, whenever we talk about AI, I mean, on the one hand, I can see where having access to image descriptions and video descriptions is a great thing for us as visually impaired people. But where does AI take us, or what does it do as far as the future of work and the future of people with disabilities being involved in society? Does the advancements in AI, are there risks that some of the future evolutions of the apps you're building today could result in people like me no longer having work?
Well, I think that it's for the visually impaired, it could be an advantage, because now, for instance, if you see how software is being developed, and I myself, I'm doing more and more of the vibe coding, where you just start having a conversation with your AI model, and the code will appear. So the same thing can now easily be done by visually impaired, because it's just a matter of voice. And in that sense, I think more things will actually open up. Because it lowers it evens the playing field a bit more.
Right.
And one thing though, I had recently, about the audio descriptions in Piccybot. I had a discussion about audio description professionals, and they are not really. Of course they feel threatened by AI, by having worked for decades in a field where giving really detailed and clear audio descriptions for media, and that is that is true. It is, and AI is like a dirty solution. It's quick, and it is it doesn't. But of course, it costs a fraction. It is and companies may want to decide to use that type of audio description. That's unfortunate, but I feel, I mean, a proper audio description by a human will always be superior. But but the other thing is that, with Piccybot you can describe any video, and if it is a video of your grandchildren in the past, then you want to see that, you will not get that audio described by anyone. So it's also a matter of independence. It is being if you say, okay, no, we want to have a human in the loop, maybe not. Maybe you don't want to have a human in the loop, because then you are again dependent on somebody else. It is about, if you just have a tool, you can do with it as you please. It is
right. So let me cover a couple of things he's just talked about for y'all. I happen to know some of these. I don't know them all the way through, but one thing he mentioned there is what's called vibe coding, or some people refer to as no-code coding. It basically means you don't have to understand HTML, Java, PHP, any of the fancy programming languages in order to create an app. You just have to be able to communicate what you want the website or app to do, and these learning models will help you actually create the app. In that aspect, I feel like, yes, it could be an advantage, but only if we can get more people with disabilities at the table on the development side of the learning models, so that they don't leave us behind or ignore us. And so that we really need to create, in my opinion, or advocate for a new profession, which would be people who are expert in telling or having a conversation where accessibility is emphasized during the creation of a website or an app using these no-code options. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. It is. It's a whole new field. Look, half a year ago, it wasn't even it didn't even exist yet. In a way, it is. So we're all, learning very, very quickly, and the same is there for the visually impaired. It is anyone. You have to keep keep in touch with what is currently happening, and learn. It is and there's a lot of material available. It is not all as accessible as it should be, but it is. I still feel that the opportunities are bigger now at the moment. And they have to be you have to be grabbed. It's an important moment.
Right. Yeah. We need. I think it's called prompt creators. We need there needs to be more people with vision loss or other disabilities, teaching the models or training the users of the models so that they know how to communicate accessibility needs to those conversations. So that's one thing. And then the other thing he was talking about, described audio, and how there are a lot of people around the world who are visually impaired that make their living from describing audios, because they can use adaptive technology to read the scripts, digital braille displays, or other options, or memorization. They can read those scripts, and it provides them with an income. And you said something there about that, which I kind of agree with, which is that eventually human-centered, human-generated, human voices and descriptions based on how humans see the world will eventually always win out. But in the short term, when movie studios and television production companies have to worry about meeting the requirements of laws in various different jurisdictions around the world, they're looking for the cheapest option. And I have friends who do audio description for a living. Roy Samuelson's part of a great foundation in that area. And he tells me that as there's more pressure to include audio descriptions, there's more pressure to send it offshore to do it for less money, and of course to do it with AI. So hopefully we have to see what we can do to advocate against it. I think one of the best ways we advocate against using AI for audio descriptions is to get word out more that audio descriptions aren't just for the visually impaired, that they're an integral part of enjoying and having an immersive viewing experience, whether you can see the screen or not, and that the AI just isn't going to be as good when it comes to something. Of course, a lot of the businesses are going to see only the bottom line. They're not going to listen. But I appreciate that you understand the stress involved and that you've given it some thought, because I don't believe a lot of people in the AI arena really have given as much thought as they should to the end effects on this of communities, especially marginalized communities like people with disabilities.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. That's yeah. In the end, still well, yeah. People look at numbers, and yeah. You are well. It's a small percentage of the market. This is, and it's and that's yeah. I say I really hope that yeah, in my next projects and or products, I can make something that is also of use to the to the sighted people in general. And I think that having an audio interface for your PC and a fully audio interface will be a very good step in that direction.
Well, Martijn, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think we've had a very profitable, enjoyable conversation today. I do appreciate that you have really been working hard in this field for a long time, and that you have genuine understandings and concern for people that are using or will use your products in the future.
Thanks, Max. This is really, really great to be here, and of course, anyone interested in what I'm doing, please check out piccybot.com, and then soon there will be news about our other products as well.
All right. Well, it sounds like people should follow you on LinkedIn,
Also,
and I'll have a link there so they can see the updates. And I imagine that if they install Piccybot either from on the app on their phone or the desktop version, that they'll probably get notifications as new things come along.
right.
Yeah. All right. So, well, I've really enjoyed having you on the podcast, Martijn. Again, he is Martijn Van Der Spek, and his company is Sparkling Apps. The product is Piccify, or Piccify if you're a voiceover user, PICCYBOT.com. This is the Accessibility Advantage. You can find me at the accessibilityadvantage.com, or go to or follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Maxwell Ivey. And I really do appreciate you spending some time with me today. I know you have a lot of demands on your time, a lot of choices on what to spend what little free time you do have. So I appreciate you spending it with us. I hope that you'll join me again in future episodes of the podcast, or future videos that I share to help educate you on accessibility best practices. And if you are looking to improve the accessibility at your organization across your online presence, whether that be a website, app, blog, podcast, social media, or your email newsletter, then please do reach out to me. I'm available as a writer, speaker, consultant, or podcaster. And again, theaccessibilityadvantage.com. I appreciate it, y'all being with me. Please do what you can to keep your family and yourself safe out there. Thank you. Disabled people, we tell our friends and share to our social sites. Don't think about how hard it is Just focus on those dollar signs, 'cause accessibility ain't just for those with disabilities. Makes the world better for everyone, online as well as in person.
Item chooser menu. One item end stream. End stream. End the stream. And outro set outro not end stream. End stream. StreamYard.